बैठिए। राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण पर चर्चा कृपया होने दीजिए। ये हमारा संवैधानिक दायित्व भी है, परंपरा भी है। अभिभाषण के पश्चात सबसे पहले धन्यवाद की चर्चा होनी चाहिए। कृपया अपनी सीट पर वापस जाएं आप, प्लीज। सदन को चलाने में सहयोग करें। सभा की कार्यवाही सोमवार दिनांक 6 फरवरी 2023 को प्रातः 11 बजे तक स्थगित की जाती है।
So, ruckus in the Lok Sabha yet again. Remember, in the morning as well, the opposition had been demanding a discussion, and now it has been adjourned yet again. In the morning as well, as the opposition raised questions and demanded a JPC probe into the Adani case, the government said that it was ready for a discussion, but after the discussions, the Lok Sabha had been adjourned till 2 p.m. and now yet again we are seeing ruckus. After which, after the fireworks in the parliament, the Lok Sabha has been adjourned yet again. Now, Rajya Sabha will reconvene at 2:30 p.m. and we will keep an eye out on whether in the Rajya Sabha there will be any proceedings or whether it's going to be the same story in the Rajya Sabha as well, whether disruptions are going to rule the roost yet again. Now, Lok Sabha has been adjourned till Monday. So it has been adjourned for the day. Is it headed to another washout? These are the concerns that the government has also expressed. As of now, the Lok Sabha has been adjourned till Monday. This after the opposition leaders, all the opposition MPs together demanded a discussion on the Adani fiasco, also saying that the government is shielding Adani amid the free fall in the shares of the Adani group. In fact, the opposition has been demanding a Joint Parliamentary Committee probe into it. National Editor Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan joining us on the phone line with the details. Madhav, it looks like another unproductive day in the Lok Sabha. In the morning there was ruckus, it was adjourned, now yet again reconvening just a few minutes as the opposition stays adamant on its demand for a JPC probe.
Well, absolutely. And in fact, for the second successive day, Parliament being disrupted with the Lok Sabha now getting adjourned, as you rightly mentioned, we were expecting that post 2 o'clock, given the fact that it's private members' bill that comes up for discussion, it is not now going to happen, is what we understand. The Speaker adjourning the House right up until Monday. So for the second successive day, the House getting disrupted on the issue of the entire Adani episode, and now, of course, with more developments taking place through the course of the day today, the opposition only building up on its pressure. It does seem that the opposition is going to continue with this. Whether they will continue with these protests on Monday remains to be seen. Several opposition parties certainly appear to be taking the position that until there is a JPC is announced, until the time that there is a inquiry that is led by the Chief Justice of India, they will not relent on this entire issue. So these are the demands coming in from opposition parties, and clearly, of course, for the second successive day, Parliament now getting disrupted on this very issue that has rocked both houses of Parliament for the last 36 hours.
Okay, so now all eyes are going to be on the Rajya Sabha. Madhav, Rajya Sabha will also be reconvening at 2:30 p.m. Are we expecting fireworks yet again? Because the opposition leaders, all of them united in their demand for either a JPC probe or a Supreme Court monitored probe, whereas the government has said that the regulatory bodies are looking into it, so not really conceding into that demand.
Well, absolutely. And in fact, the government has, for instance, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister specifically said that whatever has transpired has nothing to do with the government. It is purely a market and a company-related issue, and therefore bringing it to the doorstep of the government is inappropriate. That's the position that has been taken by the government on this issue.
Okay, all right. Madhav, thank you for joining us with those details. Now, Moodys says that assessing Adani Group rated entities' financial flexibility in the aftermath of the short seller report. Is there more trouble brewing for the Adani Group of companies? Now, Moodys saying that they are assessing the Adani Group of companies after the short selling that we saw. In fact, for 6 days straight, we're seeing Adani shares drop. My colleague Aishwarya Jain joining us on the broadcast with the details. Aishwarya, we've already seen in the Indian markets there's been complete bloodbath, and similarly S&P as well making a similar announcement. So, not very great news coming in from the US markets as well for the Adani Group. Now we have Moodys also saying that they're assessing Adani Group's entities on financial flexibility because of the short selling.
Well, that's right. In fact, as developments taking place now, different rating agencies have come out. In fact, in the US as well, there have been several companies and the rating companies especially which have come out and stated that whatever the recent development has took place will affect the Adani group of shares in the country. And now Moody's coming out and specifically saying that recent developments may reduce the ability to raise capital to fund committed capex and redefining maturity debt. Moody's also stated that the rated entities do not have significant maturing debt until financial year 2025. So yes, it seems trouble, but the regulatory agencies like SEBI and RBI had been on the top since developments are taking place, and they are looking into each and every aspect. And therefore the reason perhaps now today as well there are several other local banks and the financial institutions which the RBI has asked for exposure to be revealed to them, to how much they have been exposed to Adani group of companies. But and also one of the major development that took place from the LIC front is that they are willing to have a phone call with the Adani management as to how they are going to cope up with the developments that are taking place, because it is 29% share which has been dropped in the last few days, and therefore the reason perhaps now on one side the market is dropping and on the other as well the opposition parties and the politics continues as well in the both houses of parliament.
Okay, all right. Aishwarya, stay on with us. Want to introduce political analyst Rishi Bagri as well as Shubhankar Bhattacharya, political analyst on the broadcast with us. Thank you for joining us. Rishi, first want to ask you, how do you look at the developments? Because the opposition has been saying that the government needs to order a JPC probe or a Supreme Court monitored probe, but the government says very clearly that the regulatory bodies are looking into it. As far as the checks and balances are concerned, everything is in place. There's no question of any businessman being protected by the government. These are just standard procedures that are being followed.
Thank you. I just want to know why the opposition party is hellbound on Adani issue, because it is the opposition party which has given several marquee projects to the Adani. Actually, if you see, Ashok Gehlot has given 50,000 crore worth of solar projects to Adani just 6 months back. I mean, the Punjab, the government of the erstwhile Punjab Congress government gave up 6,000 contract to Adani, and just 1 year back it was. TMC Supremo Mamata Banerjee has given a 25,000 crore rupees of Tajpur port contract to the Adani, and apart from 52 acres of prime land in the Kolkata. KCR went to Adani to seeking a 20,000 megawatt of power plant. I mean, you see all the opposition leaders or opposition ruled state has actually want Adani to come to their place. They actually go and invite him. And when he comes, he announces all the this thing. They actually, all this opposition ruled state actually tom this announcement. Today, they are actually attacking Adani for things which are actually beyond control. I mean, the beer cartel has attacked Adani shares. But now tell me one thing, what is the exposure of Adani in the banking system? The Indian banking system have just 0.7% of exposure to the Adani group, and all of the loans are well provided, are actually well covered. Even the LIC exposure in the equity segment is just less than 1%.
Okay,
so
in fact, to get a better understanding of that, Basant Maheshwari, author and portfolio manager, joining us on the broadcast. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Basant Maheshwari. There is, so much talk around the LIC investment, the SBI investment, whether it is the hard-earned money of the common man that's now going down the drain. There's been a lot of talk around that. But in terms of valuation, situation, there isn't much to worry about when we look at the numbers. If you can break this down for us, for our viewers, for the investors who are worried that, these are public institutions that may have invested in Adani Group, and if at all the Adani Group goes down, then their money will go down with it.
See, one thing is there for sure, that all this is post-facto analysis. When LIC invested, nobody questioned LIC. I'm not saying that LIC did the right thing or a wrong thing, but right now this is a public institution and people will question it because the public didn't participate in the FPO. That is when everything started. And right now the problem is that these things are political and they will take that shape. But from LIC's perspective, whether they did the due diligence or not is something which is beyond our purview to actually pass a judgment on. But prima facie, when the entire population of the land didn't invest into one particular FPO, and just a few institutions tried to put in the money, I can't use the word bailed it out because it wasn't bailed out, that is the problem. And the problem starts from there and ends from there, and the word there here means debt. Unless the Adani Group can deleverage itself, these problems will keep on coming. The Adani Enterprise stock had hit about 1,000 in the morning and right now it's at 1,400, 1,450. That doesn't solve any problem because the problem is not of the stock price, the problem is of the debt. And the problem is that unless the stock price goes up, you cannot get rid of the debt. So indirectly, the problem comes on the stock price, and when the stock price falls, and that is when the entire thing starts.
Okay, all right. Vasant, thank you for joining us. Very quickly, also want to ask you, so you're saying as far as the LIC's investments are concerned, back then nobody really asked the questions. In terms of valuation, there isn't much to worry about. But, the talk of the Adani shares plunging, how is that going to have an impact on the market? Because time and again, a clarification that is issued is that the valuation of the company is done based on its assets. So there isn't much to worry about. The fluctuations in the markets could be because of the sentiments, because there is so much apprehension among the investors.
No, I would just like to, counter my thing about LIC. I would say that it's not about nobody questioning then and people questioning now. It is more about a situation where LIC was the only person investing, but had the stock been at 6,000, we wouldn't have questioned. See, in the stock market, you're only questioned when you make losses. And it's not just for LIC, it's for me, it's for you, and it's for everyone else. If you make profits, nobody questions. But that's why we are there, and that's why it's such a tough job.
Okay, all right. Mr. Maheshwari, thank you for joining us with your expertise on the subject. Of course, there are a lot of worries around it, but there is also a lot of politics around it. We're keeping a tab on all that's happening. We'll be right back with the latest updates after a quick break.